Good evening and welcome to the regular City Council meeting for the City of St. Peter. It is Monday, October 9th, 2023 at 7 p.m. We are now called to order. Would all please rise for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. Everybody should have received a copy of the agenda. Are there any revisions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. Moving on to approval of the minutes. The minutes from September 25th, 2023 are printed in the packet. Are there any revisions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approval say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. We have time on our agenda for visitors. Are there any visitors who'd like to address the council on any agenda item? Hearing none, we have time for general visitor comments. If there's a member of the visitor who'd like to address the council on any matter whatsoever, now would be the time to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Before you begin your remarks, if you could share your name and address for the record.
I'm Bill Nelson, 552 North Welco here in St. Peter, Minnesota.
I'm Rahima Sharma, and 2107 Turpin Street here in St. Peter.
Thank you very much. Now you've got 5 minutes to address us, and you can use that time as you wish.
Thank you. We appreciate this opportunity greatly. I'm Bill Nelson. I serve as co-president of the St. Peter Good Neighbor Diversity Council. Our mission is to provide cross-cultural communication, leadership, and advice to enable St. Peter to be a caring, supportive, and welcoming community for people of all racial, religious, and other diverse backgrounds. Our council coordinating group is composed of approximately 30 citizens of varying ethnic and religious and age groups, including Somalis and other Africans, Hispanics, African Americans, Indigenous Native Americans, by the way, whom we just celebrated on this Indigenous Peoples Day with a walk, Asians and Caucasians, and by religion, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, and other religious groups. A number of our members are here in the back of me to this evening to give support. Hundreds of additional people have participated in our training and education programs and the cross-cultural events we've sponsored over this past year. We come before the City Council this evening to present 2 very brief testimonies in response to the false and derogatory statements that were made to this council, ironically on September 11th, concerning the faith of our Islamic friends. I will summarize the Diversity Council's thinking and then call on an outstanding young adult raised here in our St. Peter community for her thoughts as well. First, we want it to be known that we stand with our Muslim brothers and sisters in this community. They are peace-loving, service-oriented people with whom we have worked side by side for the common good of all of our citizens. We stand also with our mayor and the members of this City Council because we believe that you uphold the same desire we do to make St. Peter as a caring and truly welcoming community, and we thank you for that. Second, we want to announce this evening that the Good Neighbor Diversity Council will soon be sponsoring and conducting educational programs open to all our local residents to help people understand the true nature of the Islamic faith as practiced by our Muslim community here in St. Peter. We want all our citizens to not hold fears because of false rumors or statements, but to find special joys in getting to know and building friendships with people of other backgrounds. So watch, folks, for announcements in this regard. And now I call on Rahima, daughter of our co-president, Mohammed Abdukader. She grew up in St. Peter, graduated from St. Peter High School, and is currently in college. Rahima?
Hello, everyone. I'd like to begin by thanking the City Council for granting me the opportunity to speak, and I'd also like to thank the community members here today for encouraging me to do so. My name is Rahima Chama, and I grew up here in St. Peter, Minnesota, and I just graduated in 2021, and I'm currently pursuing a degree in accounting at the University of Minnesota. I watched as the Muslim community thrived and continued to grow here in St. Peter, and I also watched as the space here in the current Islamic Center began to outgrow us. The Muslim community here in St. Peter has seen remarkable growth over the past decade. Recently, the center put forth a bid to purchase the old fire station in the heart of St. Peter. This bid sparked a heated debate within our community, particularly when the former mayor spoke publicly before the City Council questioning the Islamic Center's motivations. Specifically, the mayor suggested that the area around the Islamic Center required increased police presence, implied that religious conflicts brewed within the Muslim community, and questioned whether the Quran promotes violence. There is no evidence to justify the need for increased policing of the Muslim community here in St. Peter. The Islamic Center has been a peaceful place of worship focused on fostering community, understanding, and spiritual growth. Unfounded concerns about violence or unrest legitimize negative stereotypes and sow seeds of distrust between community members. As human beings, we may not share the same beliefs, but we can engage respectfully and keep personal beliefs and factual information separate. These inflammatory statements, though unfounded, influence public discourse surrounding the Islamic Center's bid. As the Muslim community continues to move forward, it is imperative that we scrutinize the rhetoric used by influential figures like the former mayor and promote responsible leadership that fosters inclusion, cooperation, and accurate information. Additionally, the former mayor uses influential public platform to imply concerning dynamics about the Muslims that are based on misinformation, biases, and an incomplete understanding about Islam. When public figures spread inaccurate information, it perpetuates harmful stereotypes and can lead to discrimination or alienation of minority and marginalized groups. Leaders have an ethical duty to demonstrate cultural awareness, inclusivity, and fact-checking in their rhetoric. We must hold ourselves to higher standards that prioritize truth, compassion, and inclusion. Before making public assertions, especially those involving minority groups, statements must be carefully examined for accuracy and cultural sensitivity. St. Peter has an opportunity to move forward with courageous empathy, rejecting divisive language, and there is concern that the rhetoric displayed that day is a growing sentiment. I appreciate the opportunity to share my perspective by engaging in interfaith dialogues and continue to build partnerships. St. Peter has an extraordinary opportunity to lead with courageous empathy, wisdom, compassion as our diversity grows. Our shared humanity far outweighs any differences that we may encounter. Let us move forward together, not just as Muslims, Christians, or any other faith, but as a community united in our hopes in fairness, equity, and mutual understanding.
We thank you very much for this opportunity, and thank you for what you stand for as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Now, before we move on, are there any other members or visitors who'd like to address the council on any matter? All right. The next item on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda begins on page 9 of the packet and concludes with a resolution on page 28. The consent agenda includes the following inoperable equipment for which the city no longer has a need is hereby declared as surplus property, and staff has directed to dispose of the items through a licensed electronics recycler. I'm not going to read the full list. It's printed in the packet. The following employee appointments are approved at the salary and indicated in the packet. That would be Andrew Bach as maintenance superintendent and John Netto as part-time meter reader. The following advisory board appointment approved for the term indicated, Amanda Malkin, for a term of 2022 through 2024. She's filling a partial term, which is why 2022 is the start date there. And the schedule of disbursements for September 21st, 2023 through October 4th, 2023. Are there any questions about any items on the consent agenda? Brad?
Question for Sally on the surplus property. Considering that record players made a comeback, are you sure the 4 VHS players might not be something we want to hold on to?
We are sure.
We're very confident that we don't have anyone that knows how to set the time on it.
Yeah.
You don't want that flashing 12 all the time.
Well, you don't want to be too hasty to get rid of them, so, yeah. Any other questions? Hearing nothing further, the resolution approving the consent agenda is once again, it's on page 28 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Councilmember Rutherford.
Aye.
Councilmember Sherstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp.
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Noel.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. We have no items of unfinished business before us this evening. We will move on to new business. The first item of new business is the adoption of a resolution approving an updated position description for a construction maintenance worker that begins with a memo that starts on page 29 of the packet.
Mayor members, Pete and I are here to tag team. We come forward with this based on the discussion that you had at your last workshop. Pete and I have had lots of discussion and debate related to the title of this position. And so we are certainly open to great ideas about what this should be called, but as you know, this is a previously existing position. And when we have openings of this type, it is our plan and practice to review the job description to ensure that it still complies with the expectations and meets the current standards that we have for job descriptions going forward. Madam Mayor, members, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. This position is assigned within the Parks Department, and again, is not a new position. This is a review and a modification recommendation to the description that we already have in place. Pete, I don't know if you have anything else to add?
You've covered it well.
All right. Questions about the position? Brad?
Not a question, just say, I think last week it was construction maintenance technician, and I think changing it to worker actually is a little clearer. It gives a little better idea as to what it might be, so.
I appreciate that. I think we've struggled.
Exactly.
We've struggled with having something that really encompasses this so that somebody who's looking at it can really understand. And I don't know that we're hitting it, but we're doing our best to try and hit it. Thank you.
Additional questions for Todd or Pete?
Would a possible change of instead of construction maintenance worker, building maintenance worker, maybe clarify it a little bit more versus construction of like road construction or,
Yeah, they do participate on that to some degree,
yeah?
when needed, so it's a broad term for a broad position is what it is.
Yeah.
Construction maintenance / handy worker. I don't know. Because I think you mentioned last week it's close to like a handy person they would be called on to do some tasks like that as well.
Yeah.
But
I don't
this seems
know that it should hold us up, but we are open certainly, and our goal is to find somebody great like we had before to do this work for you.
Well, assuming we're not going to come up with the perfect description or the perfect title for this position description tonight, is there anybody who would like to ask additional questions or move to approve?
So moved.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Rutherford.
Aye.
Councilmember Sherstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp.
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Noel.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Moving on to the adoption of a resolution approving execution of an updated safety program agreement with Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association, MMUA.
Madam Mayor, Pete is here to talk about this one.
Madam Mayor, City Council, Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association, we have been partners with them for over 20 years now on our safety program. It's really evident by our experience modification that we addressed last year with the City Council, and what we're trying to achieve is that people are going home safely at night after working for us during the daytime. We still have a modification number that's below the average. which means that we are safer and we're performing our jobs in the manner which our training is allowing us to do. A couple of things that are different here is MMUA is transitioning with new leadership. A couple things have happened. So we're going to try to get our finances working on the calendar year, and that is why we have the 15-month window this time. So 5 quarters is what we're looking for. We have been an October to September fiscal year, and so the goal is to change that to January through December. That is why you're going to see that extra quarter in there, and plus the elevated cost. The overall cost has been up about 5%, which accounts for additional training, driving, a variety of different expenses that are increasing. One of the other things in our contract here, it is not new, but it does renew automatically, and this is something that has been in place so that coverage can happen for communities that have a change in leadership, or something that goes on within. They still have an opt-out if they want to. The safety program has been very solid through MMUA. It has been standing for many of the communities that are participating in that. And as I mentioned, this has been over 20-some years that we have been involved with this organization. The agreement that is attached is on pages 36 through 41. Really, what it talks about is the insurance coverage, the automatic renewal. The insurance coverage, again, is something that we have shared with them, and they have shared with us to make sure that both parties are protected. And then annually, we bring in their staff to our program, their leadership staff, and come in and for our consortium in southern Minnesota, they sit down with us and we do an evaluation of their safety program and safety people. We will continue to bring this forward on an annual basis so that council can discuss or at least have a say in how things are done there. And if there are changes, we can discuss those at that time. Our recommendation is that you approve the resolution on page 42 so that we can proceed with our safety training.
Question? Carrie?
I think the best evidence that this program works is the experience mod rating. It's very worth the money to be able to keep those costs low in terms of injuries, but also keep the workers safe. One thing I wanted to ask is the specialized electric lineman training. Is that something that we've had in place all along with the regular training?
Correct. It is also offered by MMUA and is not part of this contract. It's something that we do on a separate basis. But we provide all of our linemen and apprentices with specialized training roughly 5 to 6 times during the year so that they can be brought up to speed on changes that may become apparent through code or through laws that change in that industry. And so we just had one of those today. It took about 3 hours, and they went through RF radio frequencies on how AMI meters are working and how that impacts different things to go on there and how to troubleshoot a lot of that stuff. So it is specialized training, and it's something that you don't do every day, but they need to know.
Thank you.
Additional questions for Pete? Hearing no further questions, the resolution authorizing renewal of safety contract with Minnesota Municipal Utilities Association is on page 42 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Sharpsburg.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp.
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Noel.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Councilmember Blueflat.
Aye.
The resolution is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
Our next item is adoption of a resolution approving city assistance for the Chamber of Commerce Halloween Fun Run.
Mayor and members, this is something that you've seen on a regular basis, and it's been a few years now since the course had changed. As some of you may recall, the course included more of a middle of the community course that started and stopped here at the community center. This location and this route has been used for a while now. They found it to be really advantageous, using the high school, using the trails that are located in Community Spirit Park, also using the trails that are on the side of Jefferson Avenue. They would be on the road within the Pine Point area, which is what's been happening in the past. They're looking for assistance to use those roadways, to use some traffic cones, to use the vests and flags that we maintain, and a city pickup and a utility vehicle. We call it a gator in here, but a utility vehicle to kind of chaperone the drivers. And they have volunteers at the major intersections, including the roundabout there on County Road 5 or Broadway Avenue at the high school. It's always contingent on your approval, but certainly them having the required amount of insurance, as is your policy and practice, and communicating that this is going on with the county sheriff and the county engineer as they are crossing a county road. Madam Mayor, members, I'm happy to answer questions as best as I can. They anticipate the route to start use around 9:25 and end at about 11 on the morning of the event, the Saturday before Halloween. So that's the 28th, I believe, the 28th. It's always a great opportunity and fun for lots of folks. As you know, many, if not most, if not all of the runners are in costume, in groups in coordinating costumes, and it's a hoot. So again, information's included in your packet. The resolution's on page 47.
You know, this year they've got an owl on their T-shirt. Is that it's a hoot? Was that a play on words?
That's a great idea. I wish I had thought of that. No. I was going to say it's a screaming good time, but I didn't want to follow the lead that sometimes is established before the meeting.
On that note, are there any questions about this agenda item? Hearing none, a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ram?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Councilmember Blumenthal?
Aye.
Councilmember Scherster?
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Our final action item tonight, adoption of a resolution approving a business license applications.
So, Madam Mayor, members, this starts on page 48 with the resolution on page 49. You'll see 3 licenses, as you know, as per your policy. New licenses come as a separate agenda item, and this is that, where renewals are a part of your consent agenda. So the 3 licenses are a peddler's license for Justin Schwantz, who is the owner of Schwantz Construction, and he's looking for a peddler license to do door-to-door for services including siding, roofing, gutters, windows, and concrete work. And we've done a background investigation according to your rules, and there's nothing that was found that would prohibit issuance of the license. In addition, we have a couple of tree worker license for JB Tree Care and Sumnix, maybe Pete can help me out with that one. Sumnik, Final Cut Tree Service LLC for the period that's listed in the resolution. Backgrounds have been done on both of these, and we don't see anything that would prohibit either of them from having the appropriate license. It should be noted too that Sumik is also recommended by Public Works Department as one of the proposals related to emerald ash borer, and so they're required to have a license, of course, before they do work in the city of St. Peter. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I guess it's always a good time to remind people about peddler licenses, and that if somebody is going door to door in town, you can
Let us know.
ask.
Yeah, please let us know. If it happens to be a weekend, you can certainly let the PD know. They should be carrying the appropriate documentation, and you should certainly feel good about asking for that documentation. One of the things that we do as a part of the licensing process is to make sure that they're insured appropriately. And so that's really the benefit that we see. And again, if somebody knocks on your door trying to sell something and don't have the right stuff, you can certainly call and check at the PD or our offices during regular business time. We're more than happy to help you to tell you whether they're licensed or not.
All right. Carrie.
I think while we're doing reminders, it would be a good reminder to say that the licensed tree workers are also listed on the website. If you're looking to have tree work done and you want to know who is licensed in the city of St. Peter, that's available online.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, very helpful. I know myself, I just had a bunch of trees removed because we had ash trees that weren't, unfortunately, in the city's. They weren't the city's responsibility, they were mine, and it's nice to have that list so that you know, have an idea of who's licensed in town. So, any other questions or comments on this agenda item? Hearing nothing, the resolution approving business license applications is on page 49. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Noel.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Councilmember Rutherford.
Aye.
Councilmember Sharpstra.
Aye.
Councilmember Ring.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Moving on to reports. First up are reports from the mayor. Well, I first would like to begin by thanking our two guests, Bill and Rahima, who addressed the council this evening, and to all the audience members who came to support them. It's not very often that all our chairs are filled, but I don't always speak for the full council, but I think in this case I can speak for the council to say how much we value community input, not just on this, but on all matters. And so it's great to see chairs full of people, and it really indicates to me the kind of caring community we have, that people will come out in circumstances like this and address the council on matters that really matter to them and their experience in St. Peter. So thanks to them for coming out tonight. And I'll also note something that Bill mentioned in his remarks, which is that today is Indigenous Peoples Day, and there was a wonderful walk this afternoon hosted by the Good Neighbor Diversity Council and a number of other groups in town, and so I just wanted to draw attention to that. And that's the end of my report. Are there any council members who'd like to make reports tonight? Emily.
Sure. I have two very brief things. One, Councilmember Johnson and I attended the SIMPA orientation on Friday, and Pete was there as well. We were all virtual attendees, but I just wanted to say a couple words about that. You know, I was really encouraged that a lot of their plans include a strong emphasis on renewable energy. And, you know, between now and 2030, when the coal power plant is retired, they're going to be ramping up infrastructure and plans for, I think they said 300 megawatts of wind and solar. So that was really interesting. And then a portion of their presentation was dedicated to other initiatives that can help customers, such as rebate programs and solar choice. And I checked in with Pete on this. A fun fact, St. Peter currently has 42 people signed up for solar choice, and some of them those folks have multiple panels. But I was thinking here, while we're giving advice and pitches tonight, you know, if you're not in a position to be able to put solar on your house for whatever reason, maybe you're in too much shade or it's too expensive, consider signing up for Solar Choice. And that information, I think, is on our website as well. Before I have my second point, Carrie, did you want to add anything that I missed?
I thought it was a great training and always good to get a refresher on what SIMPA is doing and what their plans are for the future and how it impacts our community and the incentives that are available to our community. Also, I have signed up for Solar Choice in the last year, and it feels really good to be able to do that. I know it's not accessible to everyone because it takes quite an investment up front, but it's one way to get involved with solar if you can. I'm glad we have the program.
I just had one other thing. I was invited, I think we all were, to a webinar last week by Beyond Plastics Greater Mankato, and it was a full hour, and I'm going to reduce it into 2 sentences. Basically, the presentation was this. There are chemicals in our single-use plastics and pesticides and packaging materials, and these are toxic to humans and cause many diseases. And they talked at length about all of that. And then policy ideas were proposed to ban the most toxic chemicals, and I just wanted to say that I would support further conversation on this topic because it sounded really important and affects, you know, directly, you know, citizens here in St. Peter too.
Thanks, Emily. Other council members, any reports? Hearing none, we will move on to reports from the city administrator.
Mayor, members, and those folks that might be watching, we want to highlight the opportunity to have a tour and participate in the grand opening of the St. Peter Fire Station located at the corner of Broadway and Sunrise. That event will happen this Saturday on the 11th. From 10 to noon it's available.
On the 14th?
I'm sorry, 14th, yes, 14th. And want to mention that the program will start at 10:30, so there'll be a ribbon cutting and all of that kind of stuff, and some treats will be available for everyone that attend. So make sure to stop by It's a wonderful facility, does great things for our community and our firefighters, and it looks good. And those are all really good things, so we want to encourage people to attend and take advantage of that opportunity. Next, I want to mention all staff training. We have office closures. This is on the 17th, and so generally non-emergency offices will not be open in the morning of that day, and will open after 1:30 that day. So this is something that we do twice a year, and have a number of different training things that go on for employees. And again, thanks for your patience. If you're looking to communicate with us that day, we will get back to you that afternoon, but on the morning of the 17th. A couple of other things, if I may, Madam Mayor. The other one I want to mention that just came out today within the Recreation Department is that there is going to be a book fair at the library on the 19th and 20th. And so this isn't, everybody probably remembers, or maybe you have kids that are in school and there used to be the Scholastic Book Fair for the second graders and third graders. This is the grown-up version of that, with all the books that we have there and many opportunities for folks to grab one or two things really that are fantastic reads. It also helps us thin the library and have the appropriate numbers. Sometimes we'll buy 5 or 6 of the same novel, and then after a few years, we really only need 1 or 2 in our hands. And so this is a great opportunity to expand your library collection and your reading repertoire. And so we want to really encourage that, and you'll see some more information coming out on that on the 19th and 20th of this month. Again, grown-up book fair at the library. The last one that I want to mention is really do a shout out to somebody that's with us just about every other Monday night. And we see them, but people in the community very rarely see them, at least in this setting. And so I want to do a shout out to Tony Peregrine, who makes sure SPPA is run and these programs are recorded. And Tony would normally, in his other job with KEYC, probably be with us at the grand opening of the fire station, but it just so happens that Tony is a photojournalist that is nominated for a Midwest Emmy for his work on a show that was done about the St. Peter tornado. And so I wanted to say thanks to Tony, and how cool that is, Tony. It's super cool, yeah. So I don't know, Tony doesn't know if he's gonna win yet, but whatever we could do to get him past the line there, let's do that, because he does a great job for us, and we really appreciate him. And what a great, even to be nominated, right? What a great, for a Midwest Emmy. So that's fantastic, so thanks, Tony. All right, Madam Mayor, that's all I have for you.
Congratulations, Tony. And on that note, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.